This is James Patrick from Slam Academy. I've been teaching Ableton since 2003 and I've been a certified trainer for 15 years. One of the most common questions I get is how to properly chop up a drum break. Let's cover a couple essential techniques for getting that idea off the ground. I've got a really cool drum break here I'm going to go ahead and listen to with you, and then we'll explore some of these tricks. Let's get into it. That's a pretty great drum break. Now, in the old school days of hip hop and house music, I'd want to take this recording and I'd want to drop it onto the arrangement view, and then I'd want to start like moving chunks around. Now, as long as I hit the letter A in Ableton here, it'll hide my automation lanes and I can just freely start moving hits around. And this is kind of like the old school way of breaking up a sample. The problem with this is that these hits aren't even all on the grid, and if I were to try and put them all on the grid through warping the clip, that could work, and that's a cool technique I do a lot if I want to like mangle and destroy the audio. But if I really want to preserve the initial like beauty and punch and clarity of the recording, even in my best warp mode, I'm going to be damaging the sound by stretching it. A lot of great producers say never stretch your drums. Don't use warping at all on the drum hits. So I'm going to show you a trick now that'll allow you to circumvent all that tedious work and preserve the great sound quality of your hits at any tempo, and also unlock a lot of other really cool production opportunities. I can go to a MIDI track, click on the header up here, and look down into the clip window, and if I hit Shift Tab, it'll actually show the device window of the MIDI track, where it says drop an instrument or sample here. This is where now I can grab the audio clip, drag it straight down into that device window and let go, and Ableton is smart, and it's going to put it into a sampler for me. And now I can hit Middle C on my MIDI keyboard, and I'll be able to hear it in its original pitch and timing. This is awesome if I want to sample a hit, you know. Great for extracting sounds, but if I want to make like a remix or chop the drum break to the beat, I'm going to want to come down here to the modes and put it into slicing mode. Now look what I got. I have hits cascading upward from C1. This is groovy, right? Now I've got it all chopped up. That's super slick. And now if I wanted to, I could double click to create a MIDI clip. I could go down to C1, punch in my first note, or even better yet, let's make sure our velocity is kind of nice and solid. That's with Command or Control on the PC. If I have my little headphone preview button on, I can choose my sounds right here. Like, let's just go to that snare drum. Yeah, I like this kick too without the whistle part in it. Doom-cat, do-cat. We're going to make a little jungle groove out of this. Look at this business now. So now if I crank my tempo up, I'll be hearing it perfectly in time, but it's not being warped or warp mode at all, as long as I don't have the warp switch on in the simpler. You know, maybe get rid of this, maybe soften it up. So now we're able to chop to the grid easily with quantizable MIDI notes without actually stretching and hurting the sound quality of the sound. Pretty sweet, huh? So to push this really to the next level, once we have some chops that we like, we could zoom in and refine their location. You know, I can move these left to right to put them right where I like them, make sure we've got them in really good, tasty spots. And once that's been confirmed, I can actually control click on the waveform itself. It's like a right click, and I can slice to a new drum rack. What's great about this trick is that inside of this MIDI clip, this instrument is monophonic. So if I wanted to like have the hi-hat on top of the kick drum, I no longer hear the kick because I only get one voice at a time, which is actually pretty whack. You want to be able to overlap those things. So we can control click now and slice to a new drum rack. Now, in addition to being able to overlap the sounds, because they're all in a drum kit, we're also able to open up this disclosure triangle, and I can put effects on individual hits. Now, once we've done this, in order to make this work, we're going to have to activate a little kind of special function down here in the drum rack's I/O section. You show the chain list, and then you show the I/O, inputs and outputs, and you'll notice that all of these slices are on the same choke group. This is going to screw up your ability to overlap those sounds. So I'm going to highlight one, I'm going to hold Shift and click on the top one so I have every pad, every slice selected. And now I'm going to go ahead and just say none on the choke groups. And so that's going to allow them to not cut each other off anymore. So now we've got this great sequenceable slicing situation. We can preview all of our hits, and we can process them all individually, having as many voices as we want, and every one of our hits is in their own individual simpler. Now, of course, when I'm all done, I'd probably want to save that drum rack by hitting the disk button and have it into my user library. And now I'll never need to go through that workflow again, and I'll always have those sounds available. I'm your host, James Patrick. I'm at slamacademy.com. You can find me. As always, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel if that's where you're watching. Check out our Twitch stream, and just reach out to us. We teach all different kinds of music making with a focus on advanced electronic music production, and we'd love to work with you. All the best.
Discover your own sound at Slam Academy in Minneapolis, Denver, and online, www.slamacademy.com.